Dear friends, Jai Bhim, Namo Buddhaya. So, now I am going to tell you about the concept of miraculous power in Buddhism. I am reading from the book What Buddhists Believe. It is written by Shri Dhammanand. Shri Dhammanand is a well-known Buddhist. Why I am using is for him in spite of was, because although he is not physically present, you can find his lot of videos and audios on Facebook, and his work, which is his actual presence, which is his actual life, is there for us to learn about Buddhism and to give and to show a better way to human beings. So I would begin with this topic of miraculous power in Buddhism. If a wicked man can become a pure religious man, this, according to Buddhism, is a practical miracle. Please listen this once more. If a wicked man can become a pure religious man, this, according to Buddhism, is a practical miracle. In every religion, we hear of miracles being performed by either the founders of these religions or by some of their disciples. In the case of the Buddha, miracles occurred from the day of his birth until his passing away into Nibbana. Many of the psychic powers of the Buddha were attained through his long and intense training in meditation. The Buddha meditated and passed through all the highest stages of contemplation that culminated in pure self-possessions and wisdom. Such attainments through meditation are considered nothing miraculous but fall within the power of any trained ascetic. Using meditation on the night of his enlightenment, there arose within the Buddha a vision of his previous births, the many existences with all their details. He remembered his previous births and how he had made use of these births to gain enlightenment. Then the Buddha had a second and wider vision in which he saw the whole universe as a system of karma and rebirth. He saw the universe made up of beings that were noble and wicked, happy and unhappy. He saw them all continually passing away according to their deed, leaving one form of existence and taking shape in another. Finally, he understood the nature of suffering, the cessation of the suffering, and the path that leads to the cessation of suffering. Then a third vision arose within the Buddha. He realized that he was completely free from all bondages, human or divine. He realized that he had done what had to be done. He realized that he had no more rebirth to go through because he has living with his final body. His knowledge destroyed all ignorance, all darkness, and light arose within him. Such is the psychic power and the wisdom that arose within the Buddha as he sat meditating under the Bodhi tree. The Buddha had a natural birth. He lived in a normal way, but he was an extraordinary man as far as his enlightenment was concerned. Those who have not learned to appreciate his supreme wisdom try to explain his greatness by peeping into his life and looking into miracles. However, the Buddha's supreme enlightenment is more than enough for us to understand his greatness. There is no need to show his greatness by introducing any miraculous power. The Buddha knew of the power that could be developed by training the human mind. He also knew he also knew that his disciples could acquire such powers through mental development. Thus, the Buddha advised them not to exercise such psychic power in order to convert less intelligent people. He was referring to the miraculous power to walk on water, to exorcise spirits, raise the dead, and perform the so called supernormal practices. He was also referring to the miracles of prophecy, such as thought reading, soothsaying, fortune telling, and so on. When the uneducated believers see the performance of such powers, their faith deepens, but the nominal converts who are attracted to a religion because of these powers embrace a faith not because they realize the truth but because they harbor hallucinations. Besides, some people may pass remark that these miracles are due to certain charms. In drawing people to listen to the Dhamma, the Buddha appealed to their reasoning power. The following story illustrates the Buddha's attitude towards miraculous powers. One day, the Buddha met an ascetic who sat by a bank of a river. This ascetic had practiced austerities for 25 years. The Buddha asked him what he had received for all his labor. The ascetic proudly replied that now at last he could cross the river by walking on the water. The Buddha pointed out that this gain was insignificant for all the years of labor since he crossed the river using a ferry for 1 penny. In certain religions, a man's miraculous performance can help him to become a saint, but in Buddhism, miracles can be hindrance for a person to attain sainthood, which is a gradual personal attainment and individual concern. Each person himself must work for his sainthood through self purification, and no one else can make other person a saint. The Buddha says that a person can gain miraculous power without gaining spiritual power. He teaches us that if we first gain spiritual power, then we automatically receive the miraculous or psychic powers too. But we develop miraculous powers without spiritual development, then we are in danger. We can misuse this power for worldly gain. There are many who have deviated from the right path by using their miraculous powers without having any spiritual development. Many people who are supposed to have obtained some miraculous powers succumb to the vain glory of obtaining some worldly gain. Many so called miracles Many so called miracles talked about by people are merely imaginations and hallucinations created by their own minds due to a lack of understanding of things as they truly are. All these miracles remain as miracles as long as people fail to know that these powers really are. The Buddha also expressly forbade his disciples to use miracles to prove the superiority of his teachings. On one occasion, he said that the use of miracles to gain converts was like using dancing girls to tempt people to do something. Anyone with the proper mental training can perform miracles because they are simply an expression of the superiority of mind over matter. According to the Buddha, the miracles of realization is a re- the miracle of realization is a real miracle. Please listen this once more. According to the Buddha, the miracle of realization is a real miracle. When a murderer, thief, terrorist, drunkard, or adulterer is made to realize that what he had been doing is wrong and gives up his bad, immoral, and harmful way of life, this change can be regarded as a miracle. The change for the better arising from an understanding of Dhamma is the highest miracle that any man can perform. Please listen, last line once more. The change for the better arising from an understanding of Dhamma is the highest miracle that any man can perform. So in this chapter, K. Dhammanand ji has said that it is that Buddha did not deny that there were miracles, that there are miracles. So miracles can happen, they can take place, and they are just part of a kind of mental process. People who, it's like you can see miracle is a kind of a development of a sensory organ. You can just you can say this thing. For example, invention of the language for blind people, the writing for the blind people, that was a kind of miracle. Even the development of science is also a kind of miracle. You can also take science is a kind of miracle because for example, when people started talking on mobile phones, when people started flying in air through airplanes, that was a miracle. So miracle can take place, and it even if you say that a kind of religious miracle, like walking on the water. See, if anyone can perform such miracle, then even it is irrelevant according to Buddha whether he is a good human being or a bad human being. Buddha stresses on good life, good thought, good work, and you can be a Buddhist without believing in miracles. So you need not to believe in miracles. You need not to follow the people who perform miracles. That such person may be good. He can be bad also. She can be bad also. So miracles are not part of a Buddhist life. This you should understand. Even if by meditation you gain a certain kind of mental energy that you can perform any kind of miracle. For example, fortune telling, that is also a kind of miracle, or thought reading. Then you should not use that, and that won't count your merit actually in Buddhism. Only good karma, good karma is your meritorious deed which counts in Buddhism. This is what Buddha said. He stressed upon a good life, a practical life, then on a miraculous life. This topic ends here. I will continue with the next topic. Jai Bhim, Namo Buddhaya.